Welcome back. There have been concerns about South Africa's ability to attract investment, but where's the problem, you might ask? EY's 11th annual Africa Attractiveness Report has revealed that clean technology is leading something of a boom in foreign direct investment in South Africa and across the continent. So last year, foreign direct investment, or FDI, rose by 64% in Africa compared to the previous year. South Africa attracted the most projects at 157. That is the highest total since at least 2016. To discuss, we're joined by EY partner and Africa Regional Government and Infrastructure Leader, Sandile Hlophe. Sandile, thank you for being with us. This sounds like a very welcome burst of investment activity, is it?
Yeah, good afternoon, Francis, and thank you for having me on your show. I think it is quite a good testament that the Africa growth story continues to be live, and we continue to have the ability of attracting foreign direct investment into our market. As we say in our study, we saw three key sectors being prominent leaders in attracting investment to the continent, mainly being clean tech on the back of the renewable energy drive, not only in South Africa, but the rest of the continent, strongly followed by technology. And in tech, it's mainly the data centers in around enabling the deployment of cloud storage enabled technology for doing technology across the continent. And lastly, business services, which obviously is complementary in helping roll out and drive renewable energy programs, as well as the cloud-based technology deployment. So
in South Africa, obviously, we have a problem called load shedding or rolling blackouts. So some of the solar technology is coming in because of that. I mean, do we celebrate investment because it's created by a hole that shouldn't be there in the first place?
Look, no man and no country is an island, so we cannot drive economic growth with our own self-investment. And two, it's always a good thing to be able to attract foreign investment because it's typically a catalyst, not only for the inbound multinationals, but also for some of our locally based companies to be able to support instrumenting that growth. So for me, this bodes well from a growth story in terms of us, one, having huge available sunlight to support the drive of solar PV rollout, including also other technologies. Two, having a potential young skills base to support in the rollout of such clean tech technology. Because if you think about it, the tech is one thing, but the deployment management thereof, and also in a shifting in around having multiple sources of energy generation versus being deployment on one dominant supplier, being mainly government. That's how most of the global world operates, and that's how efficient markets also operate, where you've got multiple service providers contributing towards that.
All right, so you have these foreign players come in and they do pass on skills to locals and create little economies wherever they go. However, looking at the detail here, Sandile, a large number of projects, but I think the research suggests 15,000 jobs. That sounds pretty small.
Yeah, that's mainly in the clean tech sector, and yes, it is sounds pretty small, but this is tracking only the foreign investment projects. There are other locally funded projects that get stimulated from that. Our stat didn't count that, but from a foreign investment project that is quite sizable, typically you find that foreign investment programs deliver anywhere between 10 to 20,000 worth of jobs, but the multiplier effect is typically 2 to 3x of that number.
All right, so we shouldn't be concerned. What are the countries investing in South Africa? Who's interested?
Yeah, that's the interesting trend. I think we continue to see quite a good inflow coming in from Europe and US. So in terms of the biggest investors into our market, definitely UK, US were the main investors in that sense. Interestingly, also we've seen the entry of the UAE into foreign investment into our market, particularly as they also seek less carbon intensive investment opportunities in the clean tech and renewable energy to try and offset some of their carbon intensive oil generated revenue. So for me, that is a good trend, and it shows that if you diversify your economy And as you follow new trends in terms of generating electricity opportunities, you're able to attract different types of investments in that sense. So yes, we continue to see US, UK really being the first two dominant investors, followed by Switzerland, Germany, but UAE also contributed $50 billion worth of investment into that large, investment flow we saw into Africa during the year of $194 billion.
All right, so let's end with this. I mean, it must mean that foreign players see potential, even though we see a lot of problems, infrastructure, water problems, power problems, but there's still that opportunity, that future in South Africa and across the continent.
Yeah, I always use the lead that the Africa growth story is still alive and has not yet been told, and really primarily driven by three things. So one, we have got a very large and dominant youth in our country. Our population, that's over 1.4 billion on the continent. More than 50% of that is youth below the average age of 19, which then means there's potential future labor to deploy, but also customers in that sense. Secondly, in South Africa, more importantly, we've built some very great investment attraction platforms, such as our strong Johannesburg Stock Exchange, our well-established Tier 1 banking sector that allows a lot of foreign investment to use those platforms to also generate more investment to support their investment, but also to use South Africa as a hub around generating more capital off the exchange, using the effective banking market to then set up head office in SA to then use that expansion into Africa. And then thirdly, but lastly, when it especially comes to technology, lots of arable land, good strong sunlight that we should be leveraging to better diversify our energy generation into the more clean tech space. So that's why the South Africa growth story, Africa more importantly, continues to attract investment into the market versus the aging population in mature markets that are seeking a home into maturing markets.
All right, thank you very much, Sandile Hlophe from EY.